Upon taking office, I will create a new federal task force on fighting anti-Christian bias to be led by a fully reformed Department of Justice that's fair and equitable. Its mission will be to investigate all forms of illegal discrimination, harassment, and persecution against Christians in America. They are going after Christians in America. Who's can believe all this stuff?
That was former President Donald Trump in Iowa just last October, basically making a case to ingratiate himself with devout Christians who think that they are being targeted in America. Now a think tank with cozy ties to Donald Trump are drafting policies for his administration that could inject some authoritarian Christian nationalism into the United States should he get elected as president. Now, Christian nationalists in America believe that the country was founded as a Christian nation and that Christian values should be prioritized throughout government and public life. I happen to believe in our Constitution, which believes in freedom of religion, but does not believe that religion should mix with government. But we'll get to that in just a moment. Now, Politico reported that Russell Vought, who is a spearheading individual in this effort, also happens to be the president of this think tank in question. It's known as the Center for Renewing America. He has served as Trump's director of management and budget and remained a close ally of the former president. He and Trump actually speak to each other rather frequently, at least once a month. He is often cited as a possible chief of staff pick for Trump's second term, again, should he get elected. And Vought has a close affiliation with Christian nationalist William Wolf, a former Trump administration official who has advocated for things like overturning same-sex marriage, ending abortion, and reducing access to contraceptions. Now, here's a little more on Vought. America should be recognized as a Christian nation where our rights and duties are understood to come from God, he wrote 2 years ago in Newsweek. Gives you a little sense of who he is and what he prioritizes. And Vought sees his and his organization's mission as renewing a consensus of America as a nation under God, per a statement on CRA's website, and reshaping the government's contract with the government. Now, Politico apparently reviewed some documents that his organization had drafted up, and they found some troubling things, to say the least. For instance, one document drafted by the CRA staff and fellows includes a list of top priorities for CRA in a second Trump term. Christian nationalism is one of the bullet points. Others include invoking the Insurrection Act on day one to quash protests, and refusing to spend authorized congressional funds on wanted projects, a practice that's been banned by lawmakers in the Nixon era. Now, there's more. He has also promoted a restrictionist immigration agenda, saying a person's background doesn't define who can enter the United States, but rather citing biblical teachings, whether that person accepted Israel's God, laws, and understanding of history. So this isn't good. And look, as someone who's not religious myself, I do believe in protecting the right for religious people of faith to practice their religion, assuming that they're not harming others while practicing their religion. But in a pluralistic society, it's really important to respect the spirituality, religion, and political views of everyone. No, not everyone's gonna agree in a pluralistic society. So the idea that we should have one religion dominate everyone in this country is absurd. I mean, we have, of course, Muslim people of faith in America. We have Jewish people of faith in America. The idea of scrapping our Constitution and implementing Christian nationalism in America is insane to me.
No, not to you. It is, period. So I can prove that in a sec too. We might have millions of people watching this show, but you can be the difference maker, because we just need 1% of our audience to be paid members, and then this show can be around forever. So you can make that difference. Click join now. First, credit to Politico. So this is what Politico is good at. You've seen me criticize them a lot. It's not an agenda. It's not, oh, we're pro or anti anything, right? Just when they do a bad job, we point it out. In this case, they did a terrific job finding this information and getting this critical information out to the public. So now, in terms of this guy, so did you understand what that last quote that Anna read, you guys? He's saying that there should be a litmus test for anyone who wants to enter America and become American, that they have to bow down to Israel's God. Well, I mean, what a funny way of saying it too, right? What do you mean Israel's God? And remember, he's a Christian nationalist. So I get it, of course, Jesus Christ was Jewish, and there's a lot of talk of Israel in the Bible, obviously. But what you might not know is that the Christian nationalists are fundamentalist Christians, and they believe in end times philosophy, which is not in the Bible. It's a made up book written in the 1970s by evangelical leaders in America. And they prophesize that Jesus is gonna come back, but before he does, Israel has to get the whole West Bank and Gaza Strip. If the Palestinians are slaughtered there, not who cares, good. We need Israel to grab the occupied territories, destroy Al-Aqsa Mosque, and start worldwide Armageddon. And then they think their Jesus is gonna come back. These are lunatics. Everybody in media says, oh, no, religion. Oh, because it's religion, we have to kiss their ass. Oh, yeah, well, it could be. No, it can't be. Jesus is not gonna come back if you murder everyone. And anyone who thinks that is a homicidal maniac. And Trump is going to fill his government with those guys. Yay. So this is the future we have. And everyone who comes to America doesn't have to say, hey, I'm in favor of democracy, I'm in favor of equality, justice, for all the things that we know to be American. No, they have to beg Israel's God, according to these guys. No, it's not even close. We are not a theocratic nation. We do not worship your interpretation of your religion. Even if you wanted Christianity to rule, here's me proving it, why this doesn't make sense. Which sect? Christianity has hundreds of sects. Are the Lutherans gonna be in charge, the Protestants? How about the Pentecostals? Are they gonna bring the snakes and the speaking in tongues to the White House? Which sect of Christianity is going to be in charge? What if the other guy said, don't worship Israel's God, but worship the God of Bethlehem, and that's in the West Bank, so now we're worshiping a Palestinian God? I don't know, but this is nuts. America was the first secular country, and we should be incredibly proud of that. If you don't have secular rule, then you will not have freedom of religion. There will be only one interpretation of one religion, and it will rule us all. And what's the first thing it's gonna do? It's gonna look to take out its competition, which is other sects of Christianity and other religious beliefs. Their first victim is gonna be freedom of religion.
So this is really interesting because I think everyone realizes at this point that since the beginning of the Trump era, there's been a bit of a realignment in people's politics. And I do think that Trump has attracted some voters who used to identify as Democrats, okay? Non-religious individuals who have seen the Democratic Party, for instance, become more and more representative of the hyper-educated elites as opposed to working class people. I do think that Trump has skimmed off the top of the Democratic Party in terms of these voters. But these are not religious individuals. And I would say that if Trump were to push for Christian nationalism through the advisement of this guy who might be his chief of staff, it could really hurt him politically, right? And the only thing Trump really cares about is being a popular politician. So I don't know if Trump is gonna go along with this, but I think the fact that Trump has had children from 3 different women, the fact that he has not practiced what the fundamentalist evangelicals would have wanted or desired of a president, I think tells me that he wouldn't really be in favor of this, but I'm not sure. I don't know.
No.
The problem is his administration is going to be filled to the brim with loyalists and Christian nationalists based on this reporting from Politico.
Yeah, Anna, 2 things about that. Number 1, we already have proof that he will do what they ask him to do. They asked him to stack the court with extreme right-wing judges so they could overturn Roe v. Wade. And he did, and he brags about it. So if he thinks he's gonna get the power doing this or get more power, he'll do it in a second. So he already did this, but now they're gonna target the LGBTQ community and contraception. That's what these backwards lunatics are looking to do next. And Trump will do whatever is convenient for him. Also, remember, he's an absentee landlord, kind of literally actually in Trump's case. So when he's in office, he doesn't pay any attention. He doesn't read any of the briefings. He doesn't read anything. He just watches Fox News all day. So if he places these guys in positions of power, they're just going to execute their strategy and Trump's not even gonna know about it. So
yeah, that I'm definitely worried about, and that is a legitimate point to say the least. But remember, in his first term, he had all sorts of people in his cabinet who he disagreed with. You had John Bolton egging him on to go to war with Iran. Luckily, he didn't take that bait. He even, pushed back against Pompeo and other members of his cabinet in the past. And the other thing is, look, the country overwhelmingly is not religious now, right? It used to be far more religious decades ago. Less and less people are practicing any particular faith. And he was willing to push back against the anti-choice, anti-abortion movement that want a federal ban on abortions. And he got a lot of heat from them for saying, no, I think it's a state's issue and I'm not gonna push for a complete federal ban of abortions. Now, he could totally renege on that, but the only thing that gives me a little bit of hope in a disastrous scenario in which he wins re-election and he does fill his cabinet with Christian nationalists is that he's so self-interested that he might reject some of what they want to do. But you are correct in stating that he would need to be aware of what they're doing. And as we know from his first term, he would literally ask some of his cabinet members to do certain things and they would nod their heads and say, sure, yeah, we're gonna do it. And then they would totally ignore it because he would ask them to do insane things. So I don't know how this would really play out in that doomsday scenario. But I will say this doesn't make me feel comfortable at all. I don't think any Christian nationalist should be represented or filling roles in the White House.
Yeah, no, I have no faith that Trump isn't going to do what they want him to do. So he got rid of Roe v. Wade. Do we think that Trump hasn't paid for an abortion in his life? Maybe he hasn't. So, and he was pro-choice his entire career until he thought it was convenient to become pro-life when he wanted to run as a Republican. He's never used contraception before, so maybe he doesn't care about contraception. So if it's unpopular and it's causing him a lot of trouble, then maybe he'll have an issue. But remember when he was in office the first time, he attacked the LGBTQ community many times. He tried to ban trans people from the military. His administration sued on several occasions, saying that LGBTQ people should not have the same rights, should not have equal rights to straight people in America. So no, he'll take away their rights without any hesitation at all. The only thing he cares about is Trump. If it hurt him massively in the polls, maybe he would care then. Otherwise, he's gonna let him run roughshod.